Hello, I'm an old fart, and I have a guilty pleasure. I like knives. I'm not an expert or an official representative of anything or anybody. I just like knives. And you've been joining me roughly every week through the pandemic on a little tour of my collection of small folding pocket knives. We're going to continue that today with this little knife. This is a Monterey Bay Knives Mini Old Guard titanium version. And I think a little explanation is needed for this. I've already reviewed a Mini Old Guard, and I don't normally make separate videos if I just get another knife that happens to have different scales on it. And that's what I thought this was when I ordered it. It turns out not to be the case. So a little background. I loved the original Monterey Bay Knives Old Guard. That video is somewhere back in the archive. I thought this was just a fabulous knife. Look, feel, comfort, elegance. Liked everything about it, except I said it was just a little bit large to fit my non-threatening criteria for non-threatening gentleman's knives. So then when they came out with the Mini Old Guard, I was really excited. I thought, maybe this is it. Maybe this is going to be the perfect non-threatening gentleman's knife. And I liked it a lot, but it wasn't perfect. There were two reasons it wasn't perfect. One mechanical and one just bad luck. The mechanical is it is a frame lock, and it's just in that size range of compactitude that I find the geometry awkward. It's difficult not to be pressing on the lock bar when opening it. So opening it is a little challenge, and I had to develop this weird opening posture of one finger sticking out so that I'm not pressing on the lock bar. And that just wasn't quite perfect. And the other thing was I was a little disappointed. I ordered the version with these marbled carbon fiber scales, which I think are beautiful. But the marbled carbon fiber does tend to pit, and it has pitted here near the pivot screw. There's a little pit in the carbon fiber. And for an expensive knife, it's a little upsetting. And you probably wouldn't even notice it if I handed you this knife, but I've noticed it, and now I just can't not see it. So I wasn't perfectly happy with that. So then the opportunity to try out the titanium frame one came along, and our titanium scaled one came along. And I thought, well, okay, maybe that, because that won't have the pitting problem, and let's see what it looks like. And I was pleasantly surprised that this isn't just titanium scales on the same knife, which is why I'm making a video at all. It is actually a different knife. Similar to the original Mini Old Guard, but I think better in many ways. So formally, this is a Monterey Bay Knives Mini Old Guard titanium. It is a Ray Laconico design. You can tell just by looking at it that it's a Laconico, especially if you turn to the clip side. There is your classic Laconico lines with the milled clip with the slot in it and so on. So a very classic Ray Laconico design. Now the first difference is the mechanism. The original Mini Old Guard was a frame lock. This is a liner lock. It's a double thumb stud opening liner lock. Again, running on washers just like the other one. But being a liner lock, you don't have the lock bar problem. We'll come back to that. So very similar operating mechanism, different locking mechanism to the original. I'll speed through a lot of the normal details because in many ways it is the same as the other Mini Old Guards. The same size, 160 or 78 millimeters. It is the 3 grams more than the other one. That's the titanium as opposed to the carbon fiber. So call it the same weight, same blade, M390 steel, 3-inch exactly. The body is the big difference. So this is titanium scales on steel liners. The titanium is slightly textured. It's actually quite pleasant. It's not sort of knurled looking. It's still very comfortable to hold, but not quite smooth. So it has a very slight texture that makes it quite pleasant to hold. Same clip, classic Laconico clip. Same shallow carry. I prefer deep, but there you have it. Same lanyard hole. And say the sort of the same comments on whether it's ambidextrous. And the bottom line is, let's say no. It is being double-studded. You could probably open it with your left hand, but it would be hard because there's much more relief here than here. Liner lock would be awkward with your left hand, although I'm sure you can do it. Clip is one side only, so let's not call it ambidextrous. And it's made in China like the other Monterey Bay knives. So very similar to the Mini Old Guard, but different in two important ways: the scales and the liner lock. So some things I like and dislike about it. Again, similar to the Mini. First one, here's another change. There's the original Mini. Here's this one. Removable thumb studs. These are pressed in. These have Torx heads in. So the thumb studs are removable, which I like if I'm doing serious blade maintenance. I like to take the studs off just to avoid scuffing them with sharpening stones. So I like that. I've lost my place in my notes here. There we are. I love the titanium scales. I think they are really beautiful. Slightly grippy. Not something you'd want to try to hold a good grip on, I guess, if your hands were covered with oil. What Nick calls working in the Vaseline factory, but pleasant. And I continue to love the beautiful blade shape of the Ray Laconico Old Guard knives. I think it's gorgeous, and I love the M390. Different from the other one, I like the mechanism. This is smooth, easy to open. You can slow open it. You can flick open it. And there is no issue with pressing on the lock bar, being a liner lock. I don't know, I guess technically speaking, liner locks aren't as secure a lock as frame locks. I'm just, thinking about the amount of material that's engaging the lock surface there. But it's certainly secure enough for what I do. I mean, I'm not, building lean-tos or carving mooses with these things. I'm opening the occasional envelope in an office, or an Amazon package. More than secure enough for me and has a lot of other benefits. So I really like that it's switched over to a liner lock. A couple of things I don't like, they're really the same thing, and that is if I try to flick it, I get the occasional misfire. So, I have to think flick, and it works well. I can't be half-hearted about flicking it or I get misfire. And the reason for that is the other thing I don't like, which is the tension on the opening is very sensitive. I had to loosen the pivot screw quite a lot to get it capable of flicking open. And I can tell you that it's so loose that if I loosen it another 1/16 of a turn, like just, the smallest amount extra that I can, then it's actually turning free in there, and I start to get a bit of blade play. Now, there's no blade play here, but that sweet spot is very thin. So it was not easy to get it adjusted so exactly the way I wanted it, but it is exactly the way I wanted it. Just was a little more finicky and a little more work than I would have liked. So anyway, mainly like it a lot, and it is a big improvement on the first Mini Old Guard, which I liked itself as well. So let's go through my rating system. And again, I'll accelerate this. For the NTGK, the non-threatening gentleman's knife rating. Well, on non-threatening, the good news is the opening mechanism. You can open it slowly, which is good for non-threatening. And of course, being a thumb stud, you can open it two-handed, which is good for non-threatening. And I also think the general shape and appearance is non-threatening. It's a nice, simple, classic and utilitarian shape, not tactical looking. Doesn't look like it was designed to be a weapon. And for non-threatening under the bad, I can think of nothing, honestly. I think it's just beautifully done. As a gentleman's knife, a bunch of goods. The premium materials, M390 blade, of course, and now lots of titanium. Everybody likes titanium. A respected designer, Ray Laconico, that looks like part of his design family, that adds to the gentleman nature. The appearance is elegant, understated. There's very little writing. In fact, there is basically no writing on the blade, just the Monterey Bay Knives logo. Strangely, not even the Ray Laconico name on the back of the spine, which is on most of his other knives. Let's see. no, actually, I guess I was wrong. It isn't on the Old Guards. Well, it's on many of his other knives. So anyway, very understated, which I think is sort of cool and classy as a gentleman's knife. On the negative side, as a gentleman's knife, shallow carry clip, prefer deep, and it is a little heavy. There's a lot of metal there, so it does weigh down the edge of your dress pants. You know, if you're carrying this knife wearing fine satin tuxedo pants, this is probably going to put an unwanted crease in the edge of your pocket. Not that I have done that. So as an NTGK overall, I'm going to give it an A+. I think it's, you know, a couple of very minor complaints and mainly good. A+. Well done. Now, how about the KN rating for my knife nerd friends? What will they think? Well, mainly good. The pros are, again, the Ray Laconico design. Everybody likes those. The fact that it's just a little hard to get adds a bit of, you know, mystery and class to having one. Everybody likes titanium. The action is gorgeous. This, my knife nerd friends, like I, will flick that endlessly and enjoy it. And the blade, M390, wonderful blade shape and a really good size. It's just, you know, a really comfortable and easy knife to hold and to work with. My knife nerd friends will like that. This is a user knife that happens to be beautiful to look at. Not a gorgeous knife that compromises usability. And the cons for my knife nerd friends are the occasional misfire. If my knife nerd friend is a little cautious on opening and gets gets a misfire, they're going to go, blah. Okay. And then I'll just tell them to be a little more aggressive, and they'll like it. But that occasional misfire is a minor knock on it. Not enough to change its mark. I think it's an A+ as a KN rating. And finally, the CMR, the cut myself rating. Well, I've never cut myself on it and don't think I will. The mechanism is simple, no struggling with lock bars and so on. It's very easy to keep my body parts out of the way. So it's going to get an A as a cut myself rating. So in summary, this is not just the Mini Old Guard with the carbon fiber taken off and titanium scales slapped on. It is a similar but different design. A very easy operating liner lock knife with classic Ray Laconico design, simple knives, and a fabulous blade. I really like this. I like it more than the original Mini Old Guard. I think, you know, this is probably the closest I have to my perfect, non-threatening gentleman's knife if I don't go into the exotic categories like the Chris Reeve Nandi. So that's your fast tour. It's accelerated. You'll have to go back and watch the original Mini Old Guard tour to get all the details that you've missed here. Not that I imagine anybody cares. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye-bye.